Well, hello again. So I'm sorry for missing last week. I've been trying for the past few months to keep on a weekly posting schedule with a slight break for the holidays, but things have been kind of rough lately, and I just haven't had the time or the ability to film as often as I would like. So thank you for your patience. I wanted to do an update because of your awesome responses in the comments section of my last video, with all your suggestions for how I could deal with my planning crisis. I think I responded to all of them as we kind of worked through things together, and I finally, hopefully, have a system that is going to work. I did go ahead and move into my personal size traveler's notebook from Onica Hanby, and I think I'm really going to enjoy it. I've used the personal size traveler's notebook before. That's what I had been using all of last fall, I believe. I switched back into ringed binders in November, and during that time I added a couple other sections, in case you didn't watch my last video, just to explain briefly the crisis. In that time that I was in rings, I added a couple of other sections of things that I was keeping track of, and I wasn't sure how to move them then back into a traveler's notebook when I decided I was going to move back in here. So I'm going to go through this. I'm also going to show you how it's slightly different from what I had in here, as well as one other planner that shows where one of the sections went. So let's dive right in, right quick, just in case I get any questions about it. This is a charm I've had for over a year now from Crafter's Retreat. I did a review on Crafter's Retreat, just the shop and a giveaway with her. She has been having some personal difficulties lately. They lost a family member and really took it hard. It's just been a sad story. So she hasn't been able to keep up with her orders. I'd ordered something several months ago and never received it. There have been a lot of people unhappy, so just be patient if you do want to order. Some people have had no issues, but just know there may be some hiccups if you try to order now, just as they continue to work through that. So let's open this right up. I moved my setup that I had in a personal planner, around a personal size traveler's notebook, around a little bit. So some of this stuff may look familiar if you've been watching my videos for a while. Some of it's a bit new. So I moved my folder that I made back up to the front, and I just have, there was a set at the Target dollar spot, now it's called the Spots Playground, I believe, that had a notepad and then a pad of calendar sheets. And there have been a lot of times I don't need to look at my entire planner, but I lose track of what day it is because I'm busy and have 2 young kids and there's a lot going on. And so I wanted to add just right at the front so I can look in and see, oh, this is the day that it is, and I don't have to worry about going through and finding the right page in my planner. So that's why that's in the front. I just have a Kate Spade clip on there and then an Ollie clip in case I need to attach anything else. On the inside of this, and this is just a sheet of paper from Echo Paper Company, their Carta Bella collection. I believe it's Made with Love or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. I've forgotten what the name of the series was, or maybe Homemade with Love. But it's kind of a cooking, baking sort of themed scrapbook paper, and it's really nice thick paper. So that's what I made this folder out of. Inside here, I just have a couple of things this is some craft paper flags from the Target dollar spot a while ago, some stickers that have kind of that craft paper look, and this is just a bifolded Project Life card that I have some sticky notes inside. Carrie Harley, and I got this tip from her, I believe, but just a way to keep stickies portable and keep them from getting all crumpled up. So I have that in the front there. And then I have my monthly calendar. So this is just one of those cheap ones. I believe I got it at Walmart that has 2 years. It's just the monthly, but I liked that it was a decent sized spread. So I use this for 2015. I have all of my 2015 dates in here. I also like because it has the plastic cover. There's a little bit of a sleeve. So I have pictures of my 2 boys there. But just to show you the current month, it's a decent layout, decent size for the boxes. I keep it simple. This isn't great paper in here, so instead of using my favorite Papermate Flare, I do just use a black ballpoint pen currently because I wanted to keep it small. I have one of these Pilot, I believe it's Pilot, no, it's Zebra, sorry. It's a Zebra telescopic pen that I got off Jet Pens. I have tons of these because I love using these in my small planners, like pocket size and below. So I just have one of these clipped on, and that's just clipped on with the thing on the binder clip there. I'll show you also just my page marker in case you haven't seen. It's just a spare piece of laminate that I laminated something and had the strip left over. And so I cut a slit in there to slide a paper clip through and put a piece of washi at the top. Similar design to what Robin Lott, she used to have all sorts of social media, and she disappeared several months ago because she decided she was simplifying her life by not doing social media. So you can no longer find her YouTube videos because she had one where she used scrapbooking paper to do something similar. But I need to be able to see through a marker, and so that's the reason I used just a spare bit of laminate. This is my monthly spread. I'm not loving having to use a different pen, but I don't like the bleed through that I get when I use the Papermate Flare. I did pick up at the dollar spot at Target this 2-year planner because I only have stuff planned in here through June. And then I don't really have, because this is where I do all my forward planning, I don't really have anything going on. I just got the calendars for, I'm going to be going back to grad school again in the fall, and then I did get the calendar for my oldest, is going to be in 1st grade. But I haven't put those dates in because I'm thinking about switching over to this planner, which is slightly smaller. And it's slightly smaller just in the overall blueprint of it. It's not footprint, that's the word I'm looking for. Slightly more narrow and slightly shorter. And I don't love that it divides the weekends like this, but it does have a larger overall box, and it would be good for me to be able to go ahead and put in not only my 2016 fall dates, but also my spring 2017 dates, just since a lot of it is academic year that I'm going to be pre-planning right now. So I'm not sure about that. I want to do some paper tests and see how this holds up to a flare, because if this will hold up well to a flare this summer at least, I may switch this out. Anyway, all that to say, this is my monthly. I took the cover off, the plastic cover, and put a sticky note with this quote on it. Not very well written, but it's the message that's important. It's a Brene Brown quote to have with me. And then on the other side of this folder, I just have my homemade stickers, ones I've printed out in here. So just different things that I use in my planning for my weekly, which is what the next one is. So I have it all clipped just to go, and I just made this with scrapbook paper, the cover, and some embellishment there. But all clip goes to my current week. These are the Growing Up Goddess inserts, the same thing that I used in my, I'll go ahead and compare here, same thing that I used in my weeklies. They're meant to be Traveler's Notebook inserts, and I used them in a ringed planner. This was the past week, so you can see I'm keeping the same system, all pretty much the same. Tends to get filled up more, and the reason I'm mid-book in here is this is the book that I used in November and before, when I was planning in a personal size Traveler's Notebook before. So since it's undated, I was just able to go to the next blank page and start back in. So I'm using my same setup, nothing's really changed. I have my little weekly chart here that I make, and use stickers and various other things for my weekly planning. So yes, that is all of this book. I have a whole bunch of them. It's nice and thick, so I won't need to replace this in a while. And then I just have another small binder clip with my Papermate Flare, my preferred pen, clipped on. All right, so here is where there's something different, because I do not currently have a to-do section in my Traveler's Notebook. I'm not sure in the past when I was using a Traveler's Notebook, since I don't reference these to-dos very often, I just put it on a sticky note and had it stuck in somewhere. I may go back to that. I may see about, my only issue is that this is kind of getting as full as I want it to be, so I'm not sure about adding another sort of book to it, but I'll get to that in just a minute. And I also did take my wallet out of here. That's the other big difference. I'm actually liking having my wallet separate. I've been using my planner and wallet combined since probably at least Mother's Day. And I do like the ability to just pick up one thing and go and not have to worry about making sure I have a wallet and my planner, because I have to have both with me at all times. But I do like not having that added bulk to it. So that's a side little tangent there, but I do not currently have any setup in here for to-dos, or long-term to-dos. I, of course, have all of my weekly to-dos on my spread, but I don't have more long-term things. So not sure about that. So the next section that I had in my ring binder was my Etsy shop. I don't have things covered in there, so I'm not going to show. You can look at a previous video to see how I had it set up. That is one thing that I realized I do not need to have with me on the go. Carrie Harling in her last setup video was talking about how she still uses her Malden, her personal Malden, for projects, but realized she didn't really need it with her all the time, and so she leaves it at home. And I was thinking, well, I have this wonderful A5 binder that I leave at home. It's my home management system, and I already have a finance section in there that I'm really not utilizing as I should. I've tried to keep up with my budget on paper for 2 years now, and I fail always a couple of months in. So I already had this section all set up. So, got stuck on there right quick. So I decided to redesignate that as my Etsy shop management. So I have just, instead of the sticky notes that I had on the back in my Kate Spade, I have some list pages, just again from the Target Dollar Spot, to show any projects that aren't for the shop, just other crochet projects I would like to do and work on. And then I just have some plain Filofax colored lined paper that I'm keeping track, and since it's a much bigger spread, I can have the actual columns of date ordered. This is the item. I have it covered up because I do have the last names to keep track of it. Date ordered, and when it needs to ship by. So I have all of that in there, and then another Kate Spade paper clip to flip me over to the finance. I still had some left of the Kiki K finance sheets, and then I have plenty of the Filofax kind for after that. So this should last me, and then I have more blank lined paper. This should last me a long time in the setup, but I won't need to buy anything else. So this is same setup that I had in my personal size, but on a larger scale, and I'm not going to be taking it with me anymore. So this all worked out really nicely that I can keep that in rings, because I do like having that in rings. In this way, I'm utilizing, once again, finance tracking inserts that I really wasn't using before. So the next section in the Kate Spade that I was trying to, the one that I was really struggling figuring out how to translate it into the Traveler's Notebook, was my mood tracking. That in the past few months has really been important to me to keep with me, and so I knew I didn't want to lose that. I also didn't want to have that in a binder that I kept at home, and I really didn't want to keep 2 planners with me all the time. So I took several of your advice and just went and got a pack of cheap graph paper. I think I got it at Staples for $1 or $2, and cut it down to personal size. It's not bound at all, and I rounded the corners and got a nice cover on it and everything. This is again this is from the So Lovely collection of the Echo Park Paper Company, their Cartabella line again, but this is the So Lovely. And so I just took the graph paper. I didn't bind it, so as several of you suggested, I can take it out and line it up, because that was one thing I was worried about not having it in rings, was being able to take it out and line them up and see my graph over time. So I went ahead and copied everything in from November, December, and January, and then my current one here. So I can continue to keep track of that with me. I was recording it in both for the past week just to make sure that it all worked. And this insert does have to be a little bit taller than standard personal size, just in order to make sure, because the graph paper is slightly larger. I think it's 4 squares per inch instead of the 5 squares per inch that the Filofax kind was. And so I did have to make it a little bit taller to make sure that I have enough boxes for the entire month. But it seems to be like it's going to be the same setup and work really well for me. So thank you so much for all of your tips for how I can move that over. I think that this is going to work out pretty well for me. So there's the mood tracking one. And the addition that I made in here was to move a journal in here. I have a standard Midori that I use as my main journal, but lately I've been finding the full page kind of intimidating, and so I haven't been reaching for it very often. I still use it for art journaling. I have different notebooks for all sorts of creative expressions in that Fedori, but I just wasn't reaching for it as much for my journaling. What I've been using instead is a passport size that I keep with me all the time as my brain dump, which has now become my brain dump / journal. And I'm wanting to separate that out some, so I thought maybe happy medium of the personal size and something that I keep with me all the time would work for that. So I haven't started using it because I want to finish up my passport size notebook that I'm using right now. Once that's done, I'm going to try journaling in here instead and just keep this with me all the time, as I already do. Right before that, I do have this little thing. It was, I believe it's either it was, I can't remember the brand. It's one of these scrapbook things, sheets that it's supposed to be where you can put the different project life cards and pictures in for your scrapbook. But I cut off the binding and the holes and made it all so it would fit in here, just folded over. So I can have pictures of my boys, and then on the back I use the long one for note paper, since I don't have my notes paper section in here. If I need to write a note and take it out, I've got it stored in there. And also this notebook is one of the ones that they had at Michael's in the dollar area several months ago. It's the ones that they fit perfectly. If you take the rings out of a personal Malden and convert it to a Phylodori, they're the perfect size for that. So they're slightly too wide for a standard personal size Phylodori. All these terms are getting confused on my tongue right now. So I did have to trim this down and re-round all the edges, but you can't tell very much, and especially with the lined paper, there's no difference with it. So this video was probably longer than it needed to be, but all that is to say that I have everything that I think I need in this notebook. I'm not missing the rings so far. We'll see how that goes. I feel pretty good about my Etsy setup in here. In fact, I probably feel better about it in the A5 size than I did in the personal size, and just keeping it home, one less thing to take. Feeling good about my mood tracking in here. Those were the two sections that I was concerned about. As far as anything else that I feel like I'm missing, I did have in here when I was using, because before when I used a personal size traveler's notebook, I was using my Chic Sparrow Mr. Darcy in burgundy. And I had this little notebook in here. See, this is how I had my to-dos, just on a post-it right there. And then I had different things that I would need when I was out and about, like my kids' clothing sizes, my husband's clothing sizes, if we were out shopping. And then, in theory, I was supposed to set up places to eat, just ideas, because I'm awful about deciding if we're going to eat out, which we don't do very often, but sometimes on the weekend we'll go out, deciding where we want to go. I'm terrible at deciding that. So I like to have with me a list of places, and I have that all set up in my Phylodori, but that notebook would not fit in a normal personal size traveler's notebook. So I was supposed to copy this over, and that never happened. So because that never happened, I'm thinking I may not need that on the go as much as I think I do. So I may just make a post-it or something like that with the clothing sizes, or I may put that in, because I still, even if I start doing my journaling in here, I still am going to want to keep a small planner with me as a brain dump. So I may have a notebook in that small planner where I have little things like the clothing sizes. That may also be where my more long-term to-dos go as well. Things that I don't need to reference on a weekly basis, but hey, I have some time with nothing else going on. What else can I get done right now? That may be where that goes. So we'll see. Thank you again for all the advice. Just a word of explanation for my channel right now. Because there's a lot going on and because I've been struggling some the past month or so, videos may not be as regular just because it's not a priority for me right now. It's just that time of year where there's a lot going on. There's a lot of illnesses going around, that kids are getting sick and I'm getting sick. And so I'm still striving to go with the weekly posting at least. But if I miss a week here or there, I pray that you will give me your understanding that I am totally human and just not able to do any filming at that time. But I'm hoping to still have regular postings up for you. So if you appreciated this video, if you got some ideas for my setup, if you just are grateful that I finally got this figured out so I'm not complaining about a planning crisis anymore, please give it a thumbs up. I would love to hear your comments down below. If you have any other suggestions, things you think I should look twice about, if you suggested something last time that I didn't use. And subscribe if you haven't already to see what's coming up. Thank you so much for your patience with my whining over this, and for your patience as I try to get videos up still on a regular basis. And I will see you next time. Have a great day. Bye.